Honorable members, let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Good morning, honorable members, and welcome to our Tuesday morning session. Investigate on the status of the operation of the Assembly, specifically on 3 issues. 1, status of the County Assembly Wi-Fi connectivity. 2, procurement of laptops and iPads. And 3, renovations of County Assembly chambers. I am aware that the Committee on Implementation sat on a number of instances, and the report is now ready, and it comes to this House through communication, which I have made, but I will give an opportunity to the Honorable Chairperson, that is the Honorable Dr. Naman, report to perhaps read the report in full for the purpose of the members to know on the status of the operations, particularly on the 3 items that I directed that the Committee on Implementation look at it. The Honorable Dr. Naman Drop, the Chairman of Implementation.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, for giving me time to table the report on the status of the operations of the Assembly that has been submitted pursuant to Standing Order 203. Honorable Speaker, sir, following your communication at the floor of the House on 21st of September 2023, and committed the following issues: status of the Assembly, Wi-Fi, wireless fidelity, internet connectivity, laptops, iPads, toners, photocopying papers, completion of the chambers, and the general operations of the Assembly. The Implementation Committee wishes to report back to this House the Wednesday, the 27th of September 2023, after making a comprehensive report as requested by Honorable Speaker, sir. Honorable Speaker, sir, the committee did follow a methodology on the use of inquiry method on observing or obtaining information through meetings by inviting the following officers to appear before it for interrogations. Number 1 was the chairperson of the ICT. Number 2 was the Information Communication Technology Department. Number 3, the head of procurement. And number 4, the clerk of the County Assembly. Honorable Speaker, sir, on the issues that were investigated upon were the status of the County Assembly Wi-Fi connectivity. Number 2 was the laptops and the iPads. And number 3 was the toners and the photocopying papers. Number 4 was the renovation of the County Assembly chambers. And then eventually any other operationalization of the County Assembly. The committee, Honorable Speaker, sir, after its investigations and cross-examinations of the witnesses, came up with the following information on the status of the Assembly Wi-Fi. That there are 3 Wi-Fi links at the County Assembly premises, 2 of which are functional, that is at the clerk's office, the speaker's chambers, the procurement site, and the leadership officer's Slink is not operational. As of now, 1 connectivity point has been budgeted for in the financial year 2023-2024. The supplier of the Wi-Fi connectivity is the Safaricom PLC, running at a speed of 30 Mbps per second. Honorable Speaker, sir, on the submissions by the head of the procurement, they noted that the head of procurement informed the committee that the inquiry of the Committee on Implementation was God-sent, and that the systems proposed and recommendations will help the Assembly in its prosperity. The recommendations from this committee, Honorable Speaker, sir, needs to address since we have systemic challenges at the County Assembly. And on the laptops and iPads, it was noted that the advertisement of the laptops and the iPads for the members of the County Assembly was concluded before the end of the financial year 22-23. The overall recommendation was that the laptops be purchased and that the members learned that the tender for the supply of laptops and iPads was re-advertised when the previous procurement process on the same was still in place. Honorable Speaker, sir, at the time of the re-advertisement of the tender for the supply of laptops and iPads, the County Assembly website was down, and once it was operational, the termination of the tender as advertised was done through the Assembly website to minimize the costs. Honorable Speaker, sir, as regard to stationery, toners, and photocopying papers for the honorable members, the clerk of the County Assembly informed the committee that previously the toners supplied was not compatible with the printer and the photocopying machines, and that the other challenges are with the suppliers who have not been paid, thus derailing the supplies. The committee also noted that measures need to be put in place to minimize the wastages in terms of using photocopying papers and the printing materials. The County Assembly should consider going paperless in all aspects, hence minimizing waste and promote efficiency in use of meager resources. Honorable Speaker, sir, as regard to the completion of the chambers, the clerk responded on this that the contractor is still on site and that a new quotation has been obtained from prisons for the fixing of the old chamber seats. Initially, an attempt to purchase new seats for the chambers in the financial year 22-23 was not possible because of the budgetary constraints. However, the clerk's office has committed and has contracted the prison's furniture and welding sections to rectify this assembly old chamber seats because they are still in good condition, and that it shall be fixed with necessary modifications for the comfort and decency in the renovated chambers. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, sir, the committee made the following observations: that the accounting officer of the County Assembly appeared before the committee along the head of ICT and the head of procurement to give the information on issues under investigation, and that the policies of the departments of the County Assembly should be put in place to ensure that the service delivery at the County Assembly is not interrupted. Honorable Speaker, sir, the County Assembly advertised for the procurement of laptops and iPads when the initial procurement proceedings over the same item was still in place. That the Wi-Fi fidelity connectivity of the County Assembly is functional through the 3 ports, that is the office of the clerk, the Speaker's office, and the procurement office. Only that the ports at the ICT and leadership offices are not functional, and that the renovation of the chambers is not complete due to budgetary constraints in the financial year 22-23. Therefore, the committee made the following recommendations, Honorable Speaker, sir: that the County Assembly should use efficient and cost-effective photocopying machines in its operations, and that the proper planning of the procurement of goods and services should all times be done on time, and that the implementation of the e-procurement system should be done immediately to enhance effective and efficient delivery of goods and services, and that the County Assembly ICT department networks all printers for ease of printing, which should be installed with the passwords to minimize wastages on printing materials, and that the laptops of the members be procured as soon as possible without further delay, and that the County Assembly Service Board to take up its responsibility of the management and administrative functions of the County Assembly as stipulated in the County Assembly Service Act of 2017. Honorable Speaker, sir, I sincerely wish to thank the office of the Speaker and that of the clerk for the support that accorded this committee in execution of its mandate, that allowed us to take this opportunity to all the members of the committee in the invaluable input and contributions to the response by various witnesses. Mr. Speaker, sir, may I also specifically thank the clerk of the County Assembly, the head of ICT, the head of the procurement for these responses during the cross-examination by the members of the Implementation Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of the Committee of Implementation and pursuant to the Standing Order 203, it is then my pleasure and duty to present this House the committee's report on the status of the Wi-Fi connectivity, laptops, iPads for the honorable members, toners, photocopying papers, completion of the chambers, and the general operations of the County Assembly as raised by the Honorable Speaker for consideration by this office. I thank you.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Dr. Raman Rob. Following that communication is that this report, the County Assembly Service Board will pick up the matter and work on the issues and the recommendations as well as the observations that have been made by the Implementation Committee. Clerk, next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next.
Order number 5, papers.
Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
The Honorable Chairperson for Budget and Appropriation, please give notice of your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity that you have accorded me so that I can give notice of the following motion. But before that, Mr. Speaker, allow me to at least the papers that was used to prepare this report. One is the annual development plan from the executive titled Draft Annual Development Plan for Financial Year 24-25. And then the second one is memorandum from the youths. It is also titled Memorandum to County Government of Kericho for consideration in the annual development plan for financial year 24-25. This one was presented by youth representatives from the Kericho County, which includes Visionary Youth Association, Youth Senate, Kericho Youth Bunge, Interparty Youth Forum, Kericho Youth Accountability Network. And then the third one, Mr. Speaker, is projects, ongoing projects, new projects, and equalizer projects from the public and also from the members. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I wish to give a notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on the Kericho County Annual Development Plan for the financial year 2024-25. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, the Honorable Chairperson Budget. Clerk, next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Honorable members, we have one statement raised, and this is by the Honorable Anthony Ruto, Member of County Assembly, Kilian Ward. Please proceed with your statement.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity so that I may raise this statement. Pursuant to Section 9 of the County Government Act 2012 and Kericho County Assembly Standing Order number 48 sub 1, I wish to seek a statement from the sectoral committee on public works, roads and transport on the following roads in Kipkelian Ward. 1, Ngendalel Center, Kipsimbol Nursery Road. Number 2, Seguton Primary School Round. Number 3, Tamarsat Bainas Road. Number 4, Tuyobe Karamweno Road. Number 5, Mochesok Kabedwot Road. In each of the above roads, I wish to know the following: the status of these roads. Number 2, the lengths of each of the roads. Number 3, the contractors were awarded the works to construct the said roads. Number 4, the status, the start and completion dates of the said roads. Number 5, I wish also to know if the culverts were installed in the said roads. Number 6, the money which was allocated to the said roads and how much was paid and the remaining amount. And the last one, the plans the county government of Kericho, what plans has the county government of Kericho put in place to ensure that the road works are done to the required standards? Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Thank you, the Honorable Anthony Ruto, on raising your statement. I think this is the second statement in a row that is directed to Committee on Public Works, Roads and Transport. I don't know whether the chairperson is present so that we can have his input before I give further direction to the chairperson, Roads, Public Works, or the vice chairperson. Yeah. And
thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think we'll be able to report back on the same, maybe immediately after we come back from recess. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
all right. Thank you so much, the Honorable Vice Chair, on your commitment. But please just note that there was another statement that was raised last week, and also touches on particular roads or a road. If I'm right, it was for Cheboin Ward, raised by the Honorable Francis Terer. And the Honorable Vice Chair and your committee, I hope such questions or statements can always be dealt with when you are dealing with quarterly reports and all those things. But I know and I'm aware of the challenge that by the end of last week we had not received quarterly reports from the executive, which we have written to them a reminder that perhaps they should send the quarterly reports to us. And I want to, unless the leader of majority, since you are the link between this house and the executive, whether you can confirm to us that as at today you have received those quarterly reports, and if not, further to the directive that I directed you, that you initiate a discussion between this house, that is between your office and the office of the governor, so that we can have smooth running operations of our county. I don't know what is your comment on that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I know sometimes we get disappointed because I talked to the CEC, Judge of Finance and Economic Planning, who is supposed actually to forward all the quarterly reports to the House after collecting from the various departments. And to date, he told me it was ready, Mr. Speaker. I don't know what is the challenge in them sending now to the County Assembly. Maybe you will give me, before the end of business today, maybe in the next session, that is afternoon, I'll be in a position to report back, Mr. Speaker.
All right. Thank you, the Honorable Leader of Majority. I'm glad now that the executive are picking your calls, because last time you had alluded that no one was picking your call. And maybe in the afternoon, if we can have a report on those quarter reports, it will be better so that we communicate to the House. Honorable members, let's proceed with the, before then, this statement, as of course sought by the Honorable Anthony Ruto, is hereby committed to Committee on Public Works, Roads and Transport, and you are expected to table this report immediately after our short recess. I think that is in order, the Vice Chair. There is a point of order. Yes, the Honorable, in regards to, I hope it is in regards to what we are discussing here, not anything else. If there is anything else, you are out of order. But proceed, let me know. What about it?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on a point of order basing on standing order number 54, Mr. Honorable Speaker. That notwithstanding standing order number the order 33 hours of the meeting, the Speaker shall interrupt the business of the Assembly every Tuesday to facilitate members to make general statement on a topic concerned, Mr. Speaker. If you may allow me, Mr. Speaker, I have a personal statement, Mr. Speaker, and your directive, you will allow me.
Order. He said it was a point of order 54. The Honorable, yes, you can take your seat. The Honorable Albert.
Mr. Speaker, that is not a point of order, Mr. Speaker. Maybe what Emeritus was trying to do is to request that he be given an opportunity to raise a statement. And you can use your discretion to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, the Honorable Albert. The Honorable Leader of Majority, Emeritus, you are requesting to make a personal statement or a statement on any general statement of topical concern, as you quote the standing order number 54. Maybe you can clarify.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The topic concern I was asking for you to allow us, Mr. Speaker, was to discuss the report by members of the Implementation Committee, Mr. Speaker, because there is a report table, Mr. Speaker, and
yes, order. Is it order the Leader of Majority and order the Leader of Majority Emeritus? Now you raised on a person. You said you have a topical concern, and you are again going back to the issues that have dispensed. The Chair has already pronounced himself on the matter that you have just spoken. The Leader of Majority Emeritus, you are out of order. Clerk, next order, honorable members. Order. Next order.
Order number 8, motion by Chairman of Budget and Appropriation Committee.
Honorable members, order, let us give an opportunity to the chairperson Budget and Appropriation Committee. Order, honorable members, order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to move a motion that this House adopts the report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on the Kericho County Annual Development Plan for the financial year 2024-2025. Mr. Speaker, this report was prepared, as I said earlier, under 3 papers that I tabled.
Order, let us consult in no tones, honorable members. Order, let's give an opportunity, the honorable chairperson, to the Leader of Majority, order. or you consult in no tones. I know the leader of majority emeritus and the leader of majority. You know what the standing orders are very clear. And let us proceed. Allow the chairperson. Proceed, chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier, this report was prepared with 3 papers. One is the 3 papers that I tabled. And Mr. Speaker, under legal framework on Kericho County Annual Development Plan for financial year 24-25, the Kericho County Annual Development Plan 24-25 was submitted to the County Assembly on 1st September 2023, and the same was committed to the Budget and Appropriation Committee. Section 126 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 states that every county government shall prepare a development plan in accordance with Article 222 of the Constitution that includes strategic priorities for the medium term that reflect the county government priorities and plans. The second one is a description of how the county government is responding to changes in the financial and economic environment. The third one, Mr. Speaker, is programs to be delivered with the details for each programs of Roman 1, the strategic priorities to which the program will contribute. The second is the service or goods to be provided, measurable indicators of performance where feasible, and the budget allocated to the program. D, Mr. Speaker, is that payments to be made on behalf of the county government, including details of any grants, benefits, and subsidies that are to be paid. And then E, a description of significant capital developments. F is a detailed description of proposals with respect to the development of physical, intellectual, human, and other resources of the county, including measurable indicators where those are visible. Mr. Speaker, G is a summary budget in the format required by regulations, and H is such other matters as may be required by the Constitution or this Act. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, is that the County Executive Committee member responsible for planning shall prepare the development plan in accordance with the format prescribed by regulations. The County Executive Committee member responsible for planning shall, not later than the 1st September in each year, submit a development plan to the County Assembly for its approval and send a copy to the Commission on Revenue Allocations and the National Treasury. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, is the County Executive Committee member responsible for planning shall publish and publicize the annual development plan within 7 days after its submission to the County Assembly. So, Mr. Speaker, the County Government Act 2012 further provides that approval of county development plan is one of the mandates of the members of the County Assembly. And, Mr. Speaker, no public funds shall be appropriated outside the planning framework developed by the County Executive Committee and approved by the County Assembly as stipulated in Section 104 of the County Government Act. Mr. Speaker, sir, the annual development plan of 2024-2025 was further discussed by all members of the County Assembly, and the proposal submitted by Sectoral Committee Chairperson to the Budget and Appropriation Committee for deliberations and considerations. Mr. Speaker, sir, the annual development plan is prepared annually to guide departments, non-government organizations, civil society organizations, private sectors, and development partners on what the county government intends to do in each financial year. So the plan forms the basis of preparing the budget for the same financial year. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the plan is useful in tracking the achievements at the end of the financial year. Mr. Speaker, it is in this light that the committee is mandated to scrutinize the annual development plan for all the departments and make recommendations for approval by this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, sir, under committee observations on ADP for the financial year 2024-2025, the committee makes the following observations and recommendations on the annual development plan for financial year 2024-2025. The first one is that there was low attendance during the public participation, attributable to the models of publicity used, and that reports were not shared on time by the County Assembly. The second observation, Mr. Speaker, is that there was no clear linkages between the ADP and the CIDP. The third one is most members of the public were concerned on non-completed projects from the previous financial years are not captured in the ADP. Hence, the uncertainty of their continuity should the funding in the current financial year not be adequate for project completion and handing over. The fourth observation, Mr. Speaker, is that the gender and youth issues have not been addressed adequately in the ADP for the financial year 2024-2025. That members of the public requested that future public participation exercises be done at the ward level as opposed to sub-county levels. Number 6, Mr. Speaker, is that the projects proposed in the ADP for the financial year 2024-2025 included new projects, ongoing projects, and multi-year funded projects. Number 7, Mr. Speaker, is that the activities in the ADP had not been prioritized per ward. So this made it difficult to ascertain the spread of the projects and equity across the county for development projects. Then the last observation, Mr. Speaker, is that additional projects in order of priority have been proposed for consideration in the annual development plan for financial year 2024-2025 after submission of the ADP to the County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, committee recommendations on ADP for the financial year 2024-2025. The first one is that there should be elaborate networks for information dissemination through the ward administrators in collaboration with the national government coordination officers. The second one, Mr. Speaker, is that there must be demonstrated clear linkages between the ADP and CIDP as planning documents. The third recommendation is that the public participation be done at the ward level for it to be effective. The fourth one, Mr. Speaker, is that the gender and youth issues be adequately addressed in the ADP and the proposed memorandum of the youth programs be considered. The fifth is that the Department of Finance Economic Planning develop clear strategic planning for each financial year to avoid duplication of projects and programs, and that no initiated project is abandoned. Number 6, Mr. Speaker, is that the programs in the annual development plan should be prioritized in a systemic manner for ease of implementation, monitoring and evaluation. For example, each ward's project be captured independently, including those that are indicated countywide. That the Department of Finance and Economic Planning ensure equity in the spread of development projects across the county. And then the last one, Mr. Speaker, is that the ADP for the financial year 2024-2025 be approved with amendments. The amendment included proposed youth projects to be considered in that financial year, and additional projects that was prepared by the public and also by the members of this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, I now conclude by saying that annual development plan for financial year 2024-2025 be approved with amendments. This one will capture all the additional projects that was added by the public and also by the youths. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I now acknowledge that pursuant to Standing Order 201, I do present the report on the Kericho County Annual Development Plan for financial year 2024-2025 for consideration by this House. And I request Executive Member Weldon Rogon second. Thank you.
The Honorable, thank you so much, Honorable Chairman, Budget and Appropriation. The Honorable Gibroti Rogon, second the motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion on the ADP 2024-2025, Mr. Speaker. But before, Mr. Speaker, I want to bring something to your attention because this is a problem maybe with the staff. If you look at the membership, Mr. Speaker, and I want to invite everybody to go there, the names. We have Honorable Vincent Koriri, MCA Londiani. Then we have 3 Vincent Kiruis. We have Honorable Vincent Kirui, MCA. We have Honorable Kimiano Kirui. I want to believe he is the member of County Assembly representing Tebesonic. Then we have Honorable Vincent Kipneno. I do not know, Mr. Speaker, what this is. So even in this list, my neighbor and the chair health, MCA Kablela, that is nowhere in the list. So, Mr. Speaker, it means the staff that we have do not. Mr. Speaker, let him quote the
Order.
I'm seconding, but I'm raising this because we are passing this document. So with serious errors, it is quite wrong.
Your point noted, the Honorable Rogon. Yeah, sure. Yes, the Honorable Ezron Ngatich. Are you still on a point of order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I raise, Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, Mr. Speaker, that is the Honorable Vice Chairperson to the Budget Committee, Mr. Speaker, is in order to come and give explained to the honorable clerks of the County Assembly, Mr. Speaker, and he is the owner of the report, he should approve the report. He is the author of the report, Mr. Speaker. And this person has been controversial on all statements, Mr. Speaker. So I want you, ruling is out of order.
Order, the Honorable. The Honorable, Honorable members. You know, the Honorable Leader of Majority has now assumed the role of the chair, and he has even ruled the Honorable Kibruti Chirogony out of order. First, on that note, you are out of order, the Honorable Leslie. But on what you have raised, the Honorable Cheriot, you said point of information, let's.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is a point of information that also borders on the point of order, Mr. Speaker. There's a very thin line. Mr. Speaker, my point of information is that the vice chair of this committee, Mr. Speaker, is alluding that, you know, Mr. Speaker, when you come and second a report, Mr. Speaker, what you mean is that whatever is in that report, Mr. Speaker, is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, Mr. Speaker. So that is why you are coming and saying, I second this report. Whatever is inside that report, Mr. Speaker, is the truth. Mr. Speaker, if the vice chair had information prior, Mr. Speaker, that there are some members who have been maybe omitted, Mr. Speaker, like the chair, a very good neighbor, and a future something, Mr. Speaker, is he not in that report, Mr. Speaker, then he should not have seconded this report, Mr. Speaker. In fact, what he should have done, Mr. Speaker, is to wait for the right time to come and move some amendment, Mr. Speaker, that the name of Honorable Eric B be included in this report, Mr. Speaker. So that is the procedure, Mr. Speaker. And third, Mr. Speaker, is the, you've heard, Mr. Speaker, this report was not prepared by the clerks, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the report belongs to the honorable members, the 30 of them that has been indicated there, Mr. Speaker. So the work of the clerks, Mr. Speaker, is to just put it down on paper, Mr. Speaker, what the committee has said. So in my view, Mr. Speaker, I think we may not want to drag our very good clerks, Mr. Speaker, who burned the midnight oil, Mr. Speaker, trying to put down what the 30 honorable members, Mr. Speaker, and of course the members of the public had in their minds, Mr. Speaker. So I don't know whether that is a point of order or a point of information, but there is a very thin line, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Other honorable members, yes, the honorable are going to take your seat first. Yes, the honorable members, you know, you have, of course, the honorable vice chair who is seconding has noted some of these errors, of which the honorable Cheriot Bet has put it right that perhaps this is a committee report and should be owned by all the committee members. And you are here, and I don't want to speak about this matter so much because of the strangers in the list of the honorable members. That one I'll give it to the chair. The chairperson will clarify on that, and then perhaps we will have a way forward. Meanwhile, the honorable Chirogony, you second, you move on. Or the honorable chair, you can comment on it first.
Maybe, Mr. Speaker, the report that I have has all the names. In fact, Honorable Eric B is number 28. He had raised this issue before, and it was sorted. Maybe the issue arose because of this report was photocopied before everything was changed. And this one goes hand in hand with the report that was tabled in the morning on issues of photocopy, turners, issues of turners, photocopies, that maybe it was not discussed. So maybe, Mr. Speaker, we can go back now to your report. We discuss that one, and then after that, it will solve these issues.
Order, the honorable chair. The also report that I have before me has different names. While I agree that it may be challenges as a result of what you have said, but that does not become an excuse of tabling the list of strangers. Because the honorable members, we have a number of strangers mentioned as part of this budget committee, and maybe the chairperson, you ought to have confirmed that perhaps it has been corrected, and so that we can proceed with the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I can confirm that it was corrected, the names, and I oblige with your directions. Thank you.
Thank you. And but the report, as you put it, is that everything is in order. So, Honorable Protocol, going to proceed with seconding the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand guided. Mr. Speaker, I second the report. And Mr. Speaker, while I do it, I want to highlight a few things. One, Mr. Speaker, it is true that even as we pass this report, the ADP 2024-2025, Mr. Speaker, I want to point out to members, based on the observations, like observation number 2, there are no clear linkages between the ADP and CIDP. Mr. Speaker, we realized while we went through the report that the reason why most of the projects are not even captured, even the existing projects, the incompleted projects have not been captured, because this public participation, Mr. Speaker, is done in the headquarters of a sub-county. Case in point, Mr. Speaker, is even Kipkelion West. If we have this public participation happening in Kipkelion town, you cannot have somebody from Kunyak coming to Kipkelion to give a view on an important document as CIDP, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when we went through the report, you saw the projects captured around where the public participation is done. And that is true, Mr. Speaker. We recommended that in the next public participations, let us have this public participation happening in the ward level, because it will sort out the problem. Mr. Speaker, the CIDP that we are implementing now for 5 years has the same problems. One, because it was done in the headquarters of a sub-county, most of the projects given do not capture the entire sub-county. Even, for instance, in my sub-county, Sigawetsoin, we have areas that do not have their issues captured in the CIDP, and therefore implementation subsequently in all the ADPs means those areas do not have their projects implemented, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the last is it's true, the gender and the youth issues have not been addressed even for the previous 5 years, Mr. Speaker. And we recommended that even in future, even as we do the subsequent ADPs, let us try and have these issues sorted out, because those are the major issues that we get. We even have a memorandum from the youth to the committee, to our committee, raising the same. So, Mr. Speaker, maybe in future, I would urge members that even as we pass this, let us have them considered, because they are the most important part in our society. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I challenge members that even as we pass this, let us have these projects, let us audit them. In fact, Mr. Speaker, and I request the chairman, Honorable Albert, that we should get as a committee an opportunity to go on a retreat so that we audit the CIDP. Because if the CIDP is full of errors, that means the subsequent ADPs are full of errors. Mr. Speaker, I tend to think as a committee, we can have time to go and see the CIDP, I know we passed with amendments, so it will help us to cure the whole thing as we move forward. With all this, I second and I urge members to support this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Rogonyi. Honorable members, I now propose the question that this House adopts the report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on the Kericho County Annual Development Plan for the financial year 2024-2025. The floor is now open for debate and contribution by the Honorable members. The Honorable Chair, debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity, and by extension, the great people of Ainamoi, Mr. Speaker, who found it fit to send me to this county assembly. Mr. Speaker, I want to support the report that was tabled by our able chair, Mr. Speaker, where I sit as a member, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you've seen the recommendations that we have there, Mr. Speaker. One, Mr. Speaker, is that there was no clear linkages between the ADP and the CIDP, Mr. Speaker, and therefore we need to address this issue, Mr. Speaker, because whatever shall find its way into an ADB, Mr. Speaker, must have been proposed under the CIDP, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that it is good because we are passing this report, Mr. Speaker, with amendments, Mr. Speaker, because as you have seen, Mr. Speaker, and of course the Honorable Vice Chair has made it loud, Mr. Speaker, that the county executive normally does their public participation at the sub-county level, Mr. Speaker. When you do it at the sub-county level, Mr. Speaker, remember this is the document, Mr. Speaker, that needs to be even taken to the village level, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a development that the county government is going to implement for the next 1 year, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when you call people all the way, Mr. Speaker, not everyone will access where some of these meetings are done. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I even recommend it further, Mr. Speaker, that even instead of the ward level, Mr. Speaker, there are some wards that are very big, Mr. Speaker. The ward that I come from, Mr. Speaker, is 67, Mr. Speaker, 0.3 square kilometers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that is the ward that is the largest in Ainamoi sub-county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, not mentioning now a ward like Chilchila, Mr. Speaker, that is almost 190-something square kilometers. There are some other wards like Kedawa, Kimugul, Mr. Speaker. Those are very, very, very big wards, Mr. Speaker. So even doing it at the ward level, Mr. Speaker, will not, the people from the farthest end, Mr. Speaker, the road like Tendana Soget, Mr. Speaker, you are crossing a forest of 25 kilometers so that you find the other end, Mr. Speaker. So I think going into the future, Mr. Speaker, we need even to be doing this, maybe even at the village level, Mr. Speaker, so that the people from that village will get an opportunity to include whatever they want to be done at their village, Mr. Speaker. So I propose that we even take it further to the village level, Mr. Speaker. Say for those wards, you know, they are very small wards, Mr. Speaker. I know the ward in Ainamoi that is 19 square kilometers, Mr. Speaker. Another one is 20 square kilometers, Mr. Speaker. The other one is 21 square kilometers. I do not want to go further into the names of those wards so they can do it once. But for some of us who has very expansive wards, we can do it even maybe 3 public participation. Mr. Speaker, there is a very important issue, Mr. Speaker. I want to applaud the youth of this county, Mr. Speaker, because, of course, led by the Honorable Mark Tao, Mr. Speaker, who is absent here, Mr. Speaker. They wrote a petition to the Budget Committee, Mr. Speaker, that we also need to include projects for the youth when we are planning development of this county, Mr. Speaker, which is a plus, Mr. Speaker. So we want to thank the nominated MCA, the Honorable Mark Tao, for leading the youth in this county, Mr. Speaker, to draft a petition, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have never seen a petition from the great women of this county, Mr. Speaker, to this Budget Committee, because I sit there as a member, Mr. Speaker. We never receive a petition. So I want to kindly urge, and you know, Mr. Speaker, they are heavily represented by the team members who are nominated to represent the women of this county. So I want to urge them, Mr. Speaker, that now that we have room for amendment, so that they do not come at the budget level to request for funding for projects that is meant for women, Mr. Speaker. So I want to urge them to sit down, Mr. Speaker, because they have a platform to give a petition to the budget committee under the CIDP, so that as we go to the budget, when we are preparing the budget, at least we will now capture what they had in their mind, Mr. Speaker. That is just an advice, Mr. Speaker, of course, from a ranking member. Whether they take it or not, Mr. Speaker, at least I have, I have washed my hands, Mr. Speaker. Second, Mr. Speaker, the minorities. I have never seen anything that touches on minority, Mr. Speaker. And you know, they are heavily represented by 3 honorable members that was given the opportunity by the ruling party, Mr. Speaker, at the party of the president, the UDA, and the Kenya Kwanza, Mr. Speaker. But there is nothing from those representatives that has found its way to this report, Mr. Speaker. What I just want to tell the Honorable Matker, the Honorable Gekonyo, and the Honorable Pile, Mr. Speaker, is that they need to also sit and console the minority of this town, Mr. Speaker, including the Tala community, so that they also find something, Mr. Speaker, to be included in this CIDP, because these are our people, Mr. Speaker. You know, when you've been given a nomination by a party of this nature, Mr. Speaker, you need to show, do something to the people that you represent, Mr. Speaker. So maybe they never had such knowledge, Mr. Speaker, but at least I have enlightened you that you can even come through a petition and you give us, just like what the Honorable Vincent, I don't know the other name, Mr. Speaker, has done with the youths. They had very many forums in this county addressing the issues of the youth, and they came up with a very good petition that the Honorable Chair read, Mr. Speaker, that captured everything that the youth needs, and that is a plus for him. So copy from the nominated MCA representing the youth. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, the Honorable Cheriot Betts. The Honorable Eric B.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me also an opportunity to contribute on this report about ADP. Before that, Mr. Speaker, the discussion before was about the exclusion of my name as a member, and allow me also to say the reason which contributed this matter was the issue of probably the donors, and as the implementation committee has done, the report which the implementation committee brought to this house, Mr. Speaker, was unsubstantive. It was not substantiated well. And I have to say, Mr. Speaker, the reason why you gave them 3 or 4 sessions to go outside this house, it was a waste of time, Mr. Speaker. Because when we see also the report, Mr. Speaker, was not so good.
Order, the Honorable Eric B. There is a point of order by the Honorable Cheriot Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to raise the point of order. Mr. Speaker, I have had the chair for health, Mr. Speaker, saying that the report that we tabled here, Mr. Speaker, was unsubstantiated, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you go through the report, one, Mr. Speaker, you've made a ruling, Mr. Speaker. By the fact that it was given out during communication, Mr. Speaker, you know, Mr. Speaker, in essence, there was no statement that was sought, Mr. Speaker. So we could not, Mr. Speaker, table that report because it was just a communication from your end, Mr. Speaker, that I want to give this job to the Committee on Implementation to assist the administration, Mr. Speaker, in trying to get the solution, Mr. Speaker. And we have given you the solution. It is there. The recommendation is there, Mr. Speaker. Second, Mr. Speaker, we went to meeting and we sat down, Mr. Speaker. That report can never be prepared, Mr. Speaker, within the press, Mr. Speaker. That is a very, because what else do you want, Mr. Speaker? When a member is on a point of order, Mr. Speaker, you cannot raise another point of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, so what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker,
the issues that you gave to the committee, Mr. Speaker, and I want to support. In fact, this is the only committee, Mr. Speaker, that is chaired by a doctor, Mr. Speaker. And this is a doctor, Mr. Speaker. There's a difference between the Dr. Eric B, Mr. Speaker. You know, he holds a certificate in clinical, Mr. Speaker. The other one is a doctor who have gone to university. He got a first class master's, Mr. Speaker. You know, in fact, the Honorable Matt Kerr is more qualified than the fake doctor here, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Honorable. Order, Honorable members. Order, Honorable members. Order. Honorable members, you know we are in the midst of debating a motion. I don't know, you know, we are being told that the honorable members, they tend to close their eyes. They don't do that thing that we normally say. But honorable members, I have already proposed a question, just to remind you. I have proposed a question by the Chairman, Budget and Appropriation Committee. Already the motion has been, we are in the midst of discussing a motion, the Honorable Eric B. And therefore, I want you to stick to the matter. All those things that you are discussing, I want to say that you are out of order. You stick to the matter. Honorable members, going forward, please don't bring the issue of a report already that we have been dispensed by the chair. Let us proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was just building my case because when I saw my name was not there, it's also prudent for me to raise an eyebrows. It was not a big deal, Honorable Speaker, but thank you. I stand guided, and also the way ranking member has spoken is not. It is not so good to. No, it's not good. But by and large, Mr. Speaker, we can never make justification in this house whether my certificate or a diploma or a degree.
Order, Mr. Speaker. I want us to, the Honorable, you are, I don't want you to spend so much on your minutes, but I guess the issues that I don't know, that was raised by the Honorable Chariot bit probably skip my attention. However, I will refer back to the Hansard after the session, and I will get to go through what you are saying. Because honorable members remember standing order number 101 on statements on responsibility of facts. So I just want to direct that I stick to the matter and of Annual Development Plan 2024-2025, so that we can proceed with other order of business of the day. Proceed, the Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I go straight to the report of the day. Honorable Speaker, the report is good, and I want to highlight some few areas, Mr. Speaker, whereby the recommendation made by the committee based on the priority project. I want to believe, and also, Mr. Speaker, the reason why, as honorable member representing our ward, we should be programmed that any project which is coming out in ADP, because of course we have an annual CIDP plan, Mr. Speaker. So it is good for the honorable members and the executive to work as per their program priority areas. Of course, when we raise an CIDP, we have an ADP which is for the annual planning, Mr. Speaker. So I support the issue of priority areas to be factored in when we are rolling out the project. Number two, Mr. Speaker, we have functions of the national and the county government, Mr. Speaker. When we see, of course, the Department of Roads, there are some roads which are being maintained by national government, and also we have the roads maintained by the county government. So there should be a linkage between the national government through the ward administrator, so that they should know duplication of works, Mr. Speaker. Of course, when we look at awards, national leaders normally come and do the roads done by the county government, and of course, there are some roads also which are being maintained by county government. So there are no clear cuts for the leadership of the counties and the national. So I want to support the issue of dissemination of information from the one level to the national level. The last one, Mr. Speaker, we have a strategic intervention. When we look at the Department of Finance, they should of course balance all this strategic planning. Of course, in the previous government, there was a strategic intervention which was wrote in the sub-counties, Mr. Speaker. So we are requesting the executive member in charge of finance and economic planning to ensure that all the strategic plan works should be distributed equally within all the sub-counties of Howard, Mr. Speaker. And I support this report, and I request honorable members to approve. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Eric B. Honorable members, we have still, the floor is still open for contribution and debate. I guess the silence means, so at this point in time, I want to give to the Honorable Chairman, who is the mover of the motion, to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance. First, I want to thank honorable members for supporting this document and request them that there are almost 9 wards that we are still expecting their projects from all the departments. So maybe I'll request them that before 1, they have submitted to our clerks, the committee services, so that this report becomes full. And in that connection also, Mr. Speaker, I will use this opportunity also to request honorable members, especially from the women side, if they have something that we should add in this report, they do something before 1 and then we will incorporate. Otherwise, members, thank you for supporting this report and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Chairman, Budget and Appropriation Committee. Of course, the honorable members that you have mentioned, the Honorable Chairperson, Women Caucus, and the other honorable members that you have mentioned, to note your comments and to provide the necessary details that the Committee on Budget and Implementation requires. Honorable members, I now rise to put the question that this House adopts the report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on Kericho County Annual Development Plan for the financial year 2024-2025. Will, as many of similar opinions say aye, will, as many of the contrary opinions say nay, and the ayes have it. Honorable members, there being no other order of business, morning, this House stands adjourned until this afternoon at 2:30 p.m.